Okay, so there's a real thing about online work at the moment, right? I feel like before COVID, like not many people did it, but now it's a little bit more common just to work completely remotely. And for a while, I thought this was really silly. You know, I thought you needed an office environment to talk to people, to get ideas and stuff like that. And to some extent, I think you do. But I actually think the pros of um, remote work far outweigh the pros of working in person. I'm going to try and explain it to you. And I basically think for most people, for 90% of people, unless you have like a specific job where you you enjoy the office environment or you really need to be in the office for whatever reason, I think most people's goal really should just be to get a remote job as soon as possible or convert the job that they have into a remote job, you one way or another. And I'll just explain it. So, um, the basic reason why I think a remote job is better is just because you have time freedom, and it depends what your priorities are. But for me, time freedom, no, sorry, not time freedom, location freedom, right? So you've got these different types of freedom. So you've got time freedom, which is you can work whenever you want, and there's also location freedom, which is where you can work wherever you want. And it's a personal preference. Ideally, you want both, right? But I feel like for me, personally, with my goals, location freedom is so much more exciting than time freedom. I'm doing these vlogs at the moment, and these YouTube vlogs on another channel that I have, and I've got a few places that I want to go to. I want to go to Wales, Belgium, and like lots of places, in Europe and outside of Europe. And I've been thinking a lot about like how to do all this stuff. And I think one of the things that's really holding me back with it, really, is that I don't have location freedom. That I need to be in Oxford at 8:30 every Monday till 4:30 on Friday, basically. And working these vlogs around that is extremely difficult. Uh, I can't just get on a plane and disappear off. Um, in a way that I could if I was working remotely. And I was thinking a lot about this, how I literally could just go, still do all my work, still work like a 9 to 5 during the week remotely, but then at the weekends, I'm just somewhere else, so I can just, there's no travel involved, like I'm already there, I can just go and do the vlog and then, come back. So yeah, it really boils down to personal preference and what your goals are and whatever, but for me, I feel like location freedom is just such a plus, and yeah, I mean it's just the idea of being able to just work anywhere in the world is like really exciting. Even if you still have someone that's holding you accountable, who's your boss. Even if the work you're doing isn't very purposeful, even if you still got to work a 9 to 5. You still have to do certain hours. You have to clock in, clock out, do a timesheet, whatever it is. The idea that you can do that literally anywhere is just so exciting to me. So, yeah, that's kind of the big advantage. But there's a lot of things that you kind of lose when you're remote, and I want to talk about what these things are and whether I think it's worth losing them. So, the big one that people always say is, the office environment's really important. You learn a lot in the office. And I push back on this a bit, to be honest. It depends where you work, and I will say where I work at the moment is maybe not a good example. But with me, like I work in an office with about 10 people, and about half of them are remote, right? So in the office, all the senior people basically are all remote. Like they work from home pretty much all the time. And then there are all the junior people who are still in the office, and that's it. And it's a bit like, it's quite funny because I remember getting this job and they were like, oh yeah, we'd like you to work in person for the first few months just so you really learn really quickly. You can overhear conversations, on the phone, you know, get lots of contact with everyone. And I literally thought, like, what conversations am I hearing when there's like 4 people in the office, and yeah, like they're all junior people. Like, what am I really learning from being in this environment? And I just think this older generation that didn't basically had a complete different life and didn't have like remote work and stuff like that. They just think that the office environment is just by nature some like fantastic thing that you have to have. When in reality, like it's really case by case basis. Like, I get it. If we were all 100% in person and we're all in the office, and there was an atmosphere, and we were working up to the deadline, and we were putting all these papers away, and it was really high paced and really exciting and stuff like that, then yeah, like I'm sure I'd learn a lot, whatever. But it is not a given that the office environment's the best for you. And I just feel like this older generation is going to make you feel like it's so important because it's what they had to do. So they're going to sort of push it onto you. But the truth is, like, yeah, like what? Yeah, I think it's more of a case by case basis. So that's the thing. And the other thing is, like I say, pretty much everyone, half the people are basically working remote now. And in a sense, I was like, oh no, I should really focus on getting an in-person job. At the moment, like, I think that's really good. Get a good social life, stuff like that. But I slightly think like this is happening. Like, everyone is going remote, whether we like it or not. And we've got to kind of just go along with, like, we can't really stop it, and the best thing we can do is just take advantage of the situation to, like, live a lifestyle that is just the best possible. And I just think this remote work thing is just so exciting. How many people in the history of our species could just go wherever the fuck they wanted and still be employed? What a privilege to live in a time where we can literally do that. It's really exciting. So yeah, basically that's why I think in-person work is very overhyped by an older generation who's out of touch. And yeah, thank you for watching. If you click the top link in the description, I'm taking on some clients at the moment for my coaching. So if you want to get involved, just book a free session with me. We'll see if you're a good fit, and get you accountable, get you some goals, help you work towards remote work, if that's what you want. And yeah, so get involved in that, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.